Welcome to Be Bold Branding. Today's guest is one of our BrandFace real estate agents from Homer, Georgia. She's actually one of Michael's agents at Michael Carr and Associates, and she's going to share her story with us today and tell us all about her journey as a BrandFace. I'm Tanya Eberhardt, founder of BrandFace, where we help real estate agents differentiate themselves, and we do that through personal branding.
And I'm Michael Carr. I'm the COO of BrandFace. I was actually a client before I became a partner in the company, and we are the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe. We do Be Bold Branding podcast to help people take the fear out of putting themselves out there. And we've got an incredible guest for you here today. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you.
Hey, let's just start by you letting us know how and why you got into real estate.
So I had always been interested in real estate, but kind of got into a day job and stayed in the day job. I encouraged my daughter to get into real estate. And then kind of just once I became an empty nester, realized it was the time to do it and I should do it now, and made the jump.
Made the jump and the daughter, just for you, so you guys know, is actually another of Michael's agents and our global training specialist here at BrandFace.
Yep, we're very excited about this. And we're very excited about this guest because I knew that. So I already knew all this story that we were going to talk about here today. And I knew that you had encouraged Sydney to get into the real estate business, and she had enjoyed it. And of course, you've been a very big cheerleader for that. And then, I rarely do I find somebody that has done better right off the bat at being in real estate than you. I got to say, you are absolutely made for real estate. There's no doubt. You encouraging Sydney to get into it was just a blessing for us overall. And then you put the icing on that cake because you are fantastic at it. And you came to us, said, hey, I want to be branded. I understand this a little bit. I want to learn about it. And you jumped right into it with both feet. And it has been really good. We're going to talk about that. I won't get caught in the sorry.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your brand. It's perfect time. Let's segue it into it. All right. Okay. Tell everybody what your brand identifier is and how that fits you so perfectly.
So I'm the home navigator, and it fits me good because that's genuinely my process, is to guide people all the way through the process and through the emotional part of the process as well. I like everybody to be stress-free, because if they're stressed, then I feel like I'm not doing my job. So it fits me perfectly, because that's my plan, is always to navigate all the way through and help everybody else have a seamless transition.
I love it. I love it. Just a natural.
It's so perfect for you, because I know that I feel this way, and I know I've heard that about you. There's rumors going around about you, Nicole. And those rumors are that when you meet Nicole for the first time, you literally feel like you have known her for years.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And she has that nurturing, guiding nature, which is really one of the main attributes of the Home Navigator brand. So let's back up for a moment and tell us why you came into the BrandFace program.
So that's kind of segues into what we were just saying. Obviously, Michael's my broker. My daughter is part of BrandFace and Michael Carr and Associates. And within the Michael Carr and Associates family, there are other agents that I've been able to see their branding. So I got to see it from the consumer side and see what it looks like from the outside looking in, and was impressed with it. So I knew I was going to do it. And it was kind of funny, because I was sort of waiting for Sydney to ask me, because I'm always careful not to step on her toes. And she didn't ask me. And then when I brought it up, she was like, it's about time, very.
She was holding out.
I love it.
I didn't know that. That's a great story.
Well, I could build upon that just a little bit, because it's she sort of just did what I did to her too, because, being a broker, true. They have the perk of getting the program as if they come into our brokerage, but not the done for you, because the done for you is really labor intensive, and we do that. We'll get into all of that, right? And so we don't really pitch it as a sales pitch to people, because it is a natural flow. They need to come to that knowing that they need this to be able to stand out. And
right.
Just followed suit with that, and it's really interesting that you had noticed that right off the bat too, when you were deciding to get into real estate and you were watching what we were doing.
Yep. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I saw it firsthand so much, not only through Sydney going through the program, but then, obviously I saw everything she posted with all of the other Michael Carr and Associates agents and BrandFace. So I was pretty familiar up front and knew that I would want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
so even though you knew you wanted to do it, were there some things that you were hesitant about or afraid of kind of coming into it?
So I was 100% losing sleep over the concept of what this brand identifier was going to be. Because I'm like an all in person and I have to love it, bond with it. Like if it felt weird to me or if it felt uncomfortable to me, I probably would have never touched it or used it, like, so I knew I really needed something that I could love, and I was worried about it. And even knowing what some of them were, couldn't see it until I had that talk with you where you pitched them to me and told me why they fit me. I could not see it ahead of time, even, doing research and knowing what some of the options were going to be.
Yeah, that does happen. And I have to
Yep.
throw in a funny note here because like I have a daughter, and we sometimes funny things happen between mother and daughter where like they just have this perception, right? And
Right.
so Sydney says, hey, mom's going to be so difficult, she's going to be so picky. I just want you to know she's going to be so picky coming into it. And then I said, Sydney, she's not going to be any pickier than you were, right? and the fact of the matter is that's what we want, because
Sure.
that tells me that's how important it is to you that we get it right.
Exactly. If you don't care, what would be the point of doing it?
Good point.
Absolute sure. That's a great truth. And, so expand upon that just a little bit though. So for everybody, what I remember. So, but for the audience, like what was your reaction when you were given different options for that brand identifier?
Okay, so I had told myself ahead of time I was going to sleep on it because I didn't want to choose something quickly because it was so important to me and I wanted to make sure I could really love it. So you guys gave me the 3 options and I narrowed it down to 2 right away, but I was like, I'm going to sleep on it and think about it. And then of course I hung up the phone, called my husband, literally told him which one I wanted. He was like, yeah, that's the one I like too. And called you guys back like 10 minutes later. But the funny part for me was that all 3 of you had already decided that was the one I should pick, but you showed no bias whatsoever when you told me.
Yep.
Like none of you gave me any indication as to what preference you had. I think I even asked and nobody would tell me what their preference was. And then it ended up that you were all like, thank goodness, that's the one we knew you needed,
Yeah.
Yep.
It just fit you so very well, everything
Absolutely.
about you, your personality, that, nature, that like just very guiding nature, as we said, that everybody just loves. So tell us, what was the easiest part of going through the branding program for you? And on the flip side, what was the hardest part?
So the easiest part is funny because it's literally what we just talked about. The thing I was so afraid of was the easiest part. Like once I told you that's what I was going to do, I bonded with it. And you know me, it's everywhere. It's on my golf cart. It's on my laptop. I have a sign ordered for my office that will be on my little Zoom calls in the future. Like
Yep.
I'm into it, like I immediately was able to bond with it and love it. So that actually ended up being the easiest, with it being the thing that I was the most worried about, which I mean, it makes sense. It was the thing I was most worried about because it's the whole thing really, that you then build upon.
That it's what you want to be known for, right? And and then the story's built around that, but that is like the cover of your book, right? Like it's your brand is like a book, your story's the inside. You cannot fit the entire contents of your book on the cover though, so we have to find something that serves as the cover of your book that says, here's what I stand for, and that's your brand identifier. So it means so much to us. Like you couldn't have told us anything we loved any more than what you just said is how you bonded with it, because it is you, and that's what our goal is for you.
Yep. So on the hardest part, I would say twofold, but both stemming from the fact that I was a newer agent. So I struggled with the things, the information that you needed from me. One, for trying to decide who my ideal clients were, because I instantly answered the questions and I was like, wait, I've only had 7-8 clients. Cause I mean, I did this right away. Right. And so I was like, are they my ideal clients, or did I just enjoy them and love them and become friends with them? So I'm assuming that that's the exact kind of person I want to work with. So I had to really think through that and talk through that with Tanya to figure that out. And then also the bio was hard for me because I didn't have a bunch of real estate experience to talk about. I didn't have worldly travels to talk about. I have always been all about my family, but also a hard worker and professional in that way. But so you really had to teach me that it was okay, that everybody's story is special regardless of what the story is.
Yep.
She listened.
She did.
I
Nailed
love
it.
it. You nailed it.
I am a good listener.
That's great. And you like, I think to me that I felt that stress coming from you a little bit with that. It's like, I don't know what's different about me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm kind of boring or, and it's like, there is nothing about you that is boring.
Right.
And we had that call and I took it outside because I was like stressed. So I was like outside in the sun and I'm like, my voice is cracking and I'm like, what is wrong with me? I was like emotional about it and it was so silly, but I really was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it takes it. We tell people all the time, you can't read the label when you're inside the jar, and we need other people to point out how we're really seen. We only get our only vantage point of ourselves is in the mirror and what we reflect back to ourselves, and then what we feel behind the eyes, right? But that isn't necessarily everybody else's perception of us, and we need those other people to say, no. You got to understand all your shiny parts, and all the special things that really make you perfect for this career, this brand identifier. And you are, by far that. Just the very nuance that you're the home navigator. And as you just said, you've always been central to your family, your home. You have an incredible home and you have an incredible family. And so those things are very, you can illuminate the goodness in that very
Absolutely.
easy. And it's easy for us to say, I'm not special, I'm just taking care, but yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Well, and I think even from a personal level, like that was a good reminder for me to always be positive. We all need that reminder every once in a while that, you only live one life and you need to enjoy the whole thing fully and appreciate everything in it. So it was kind of good for me in general to just remind me.
Yeah,
that's good to hear because I won't soon forget it. I was reading through the bio stuff as we were doing your bio, and I remember you saying something about your grandmother and how she was your kindred spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how she would just get dressed even after she retired, she'd get dressed every morning like she had somewhere special to go.
She did.
And that just, that sprightliness, I think I even used the word sprightly, to describe her, but that sprightliness of her, that is you, that sparkle. And I could see how important that relationship was to you. And then of course I had to giggle when, your personality is like gorgeous off the charts. And then, I take a look at you and I think, okay, cheerleader, she's on, she's in track. Was it track? No, soccer.
Field hockey.
Field hockey. Yeah, doggone it. None out of 3 is bad. It ain't bad, right? Okay. So you were in sports, you were in cheerleading, you were in a lot of different activities in school, and you just up and decided one day. Tell them what you decided, Nicole, because I love this story.
You love the story more than I do.
I love it.
So I quit so that I could save money and get a car so that I could have freedom and do the things I wanted to do.
Yeah, she quit all of those activities that every kid, that's part of every kid's journey through high school, especially the more active, kids. And she quit to take a job, buy her own car that, if I recall, only had an AM radio. It was what was it?
It was a Chevy Citation.
There you go. But
Citations.
When you're weighing popularity and fun versus freedom, guess what won? And it just tells me a lot more about your story. And then you had children at a young age, and that just became family for you from that moment forward. And that's a beautiful story. So
it really is.
It is.
Well, you've done it again, right? To me, in life, we've all lived long enough that we see these circulars that happen in your life, or I recognize them in me. And I can see that. And you found something that you wanted more than the things that you had. And you went and okay, here's my sacrifice to go get it. And you went and got it. And that's another reason why you're so incredible at real estate. And no doubt every other career you've ever wanted to pour your heart into. You definitely highly successful, in my opinion, as a parent and a wife. Absolutely. And homemaker. And we just adore you, obviously, by, you can tell by the way we talk. But, it's because I also got to know like Sydney at an early age, and I could see these things that made her up. And those things came from you guys, from you and Bill, and it's just fantastic. And then you can able to take all of those life experiences that you had, and that same drive that would say, you know what, I like being a cheerleader and I like being a sports, but I would rather have a car and be free. So I'm going to go to work and I want to get a car and I'm going to be free and I'm going to listen to AM radio. And you did that, and you're doing that again, as a very young lady to start your real estate career, which you're doing it at.
And to touch on all those, like, I agree. My grandmother was a real class act, but she was super feisty too. So I love that about her. And then, when I decided I was going to get my license, we were on the way for our 25th anniversary trip. And we were in the truck driving to Florida, had rented this house. And I looked at Bill and like pitched it to him on the drive. Like, this is what I decided I was going to do, by the way. And he was super supportive, loved it. Absolutely. You should do it. So then I text Sydney and I'm like, not sure how this is going to go over. Is she going to love that? Is she not going to love that? That's her thing. But she was extremely supportive and was like, absolutely, you should do it. And then I was like gung ho. Like I bought that class the day we got back from that anniversary trip. And I think I was done in like 3.5 weeks. Yep. Like I did it 3 hours. Like I was up at 5 a.m, did it because I was working a full-time job. Did it in the morning from 5 to 7, did it at night from 7 to 10, and like got it done quick. Because I was afraid I'd back out, right? Like I wanted to like head, no turning back.
I love it. Burn the bridges behind.
Yeah. Once you announce this is what I'm going to do, that holds you accountable.
Right. Exactly. Once I told everybody, it was like, I got to do it.
I'll follow through with this now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, to segue into the next question, it might be the perfect time, but how do you feel like your brand makes you bolder, if that's possible? Like how do you think that has expanded your,
I think it's made a big difference. And I would say 100% it's confidence. And that confidence comes from knowing that my marketing looks professional and sharp. And I know that it does because I hear about it all the time. And even when I'm creating the post myself, I now have all the tools to make them look good. And since, as we have already addressed, I'm very picky, I need them to look good.
They should look good.
Yeah.
We have nothing but picky people in this program. That's what it's for.
That is what it's for. I mean, it's showing off your best self, and that collaborative effort between what you already know and how you want it. All of our clients are that way. And then what we can bring to the table, showing them the things they can't see or don't know to look for in themselves. Yeah. And it works out really good. You do have incredible posts. You do a fantastic job of putting yourself out there.
Sure do.
And utilizing that brand at every turn and thinking about ways to, do you lay around like thinking of new ways to infuse your brand?
I'm not gonna lie, it happened this week. I woke my husband up at like 4 a.m, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I just thought of what my post is gonna be today."
I love it.
And I said, "Do you want to hear?" And he was like, "Go to sleep." I'm like, "No, we're not talking about this." And then at like 6:30 in the morning when he's up, he's like, "All right, you can tell me now."
That's great. I love it. I love it. But you guys, like you mentioned earlier, you have the Home Navigator logo on your golf cart.
We do.
You also put it on the flip side of your laptop. So when you're in a public restaurant, coffee shop, working, wherever you are, sitting across from a client, they never forget who they're talking to because they can see that cover with your logo on it. I love that too. Love it. Yeah. Tell us how your brand helps you secure business, because that's the most important thing.
So I think it's kind of the same answer. It's the confidence and the professionalism. If people see that I'm confident and that I'm professional, then that makes them feel confident in using me, right? So I just think it's a full circle thing. Like I said, having seen BrandFace agents from the other side looking in, that the professionalism is so much at such a higher level. And there's just no way around that. So I think it just makes people confident that you know what you're doing, that you're professional, and that you're going to take good care of them. And I've already gotten clients off of both Instagram and Facebook, which is just crazy to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you did it without, elaborate funnels or expensive ads and stuff like that. You did it organically, infusing your brand in the right places at the right time.
Even if your clients are coming through your friends, that's how your friends remember you, right? It's because they're seeing your professional post all the time, and that gets them excited about what you're doing and gets them to help promote you too.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily even the strangers. It's reminding your friends, family, neighbors that this is what you do and that, you're professional and confident about it.
You just have,
Couldn't have said it better.
I can't say it enough. You just have such an innate thought process that works for me. That's exactly how it works. And so well put, because you're not just introducing yourself to those people that don't know you, you're reminding those people that do in a very creative way, a high level of professionalism, without ever overselling. So y'all can already tell Nicole, she's not that person that, at church, you're like, oh, don't get caught up in the corner. Don't get caught up with here she comes. I bet she tells us she's a real estate agent. You know what I mean? That's not Nicole. She doesn't have to do that. Her brand speaking is going ahead of her. And like you said so eloquently, if you're reminding your friends too, hey, let everybody know who the Home Navigator is.
And I would like to take this moment to say a universal, I told you so.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why is I'm being very bold today, because you still think that's crazy. I've already gotten a client off of Instagram and off of Facebook, and it's like, this is crazy. And it's like, no, we told you.
You're right. It's not crazy. I shouldn't have said crazy.
I'm teasing you. You gave me an awesome opportunity. Yeah. I just had to say.
You hear about it all the time, but before BrandFace, it felt like you were like beating a dead horse, you know what I mean? You just couldn't get anywhere with it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It felt very futile before, and now it feels very purposeful.
Yes. Well, another well said. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So there are real estate agents out there, there's entrepreneurs out there, of which you are one now, and they're afraid to put themselves out there for whatever reason. It might be that they don't feel like there's, they don't have a special story. It might be that they're just worried about what their people will think, or friends, or sphere of influence, or whatever. And what would you say to them about becoming a brand face?
So I think it's a no-brainer, because branding yourself is investing in yourself, and who on the planet would ever say investing in yourself is a bad idea? Mm-hmm. Right?
Great.
If you had to give advice to anyone in any industry, it's going to be to invest in yourself, whether it's personal, whether it's business. And when it comes to being a real estate agent, the best way to invest in yourself is to brand yourself. So it makes total sense.
I love it. Yep.
Plain and simple.
I agree with
common sense.
Yep, you've got to be able to say, I'm important enough to do this, and I'm important, and my desire for this to be successful is important enough that other people need to know what I stand for, who I am, how I can help them, and they're only interested, right, in what you could do for them when they think they need that, and the brand actually gives them all of those options when it's out in front of them. Timing, everything, because now they can come and look at you and figure out who you are, what you stand for, what you mean when you say Home Navigator. They can look at your posts, your social media. They can hear all the great reviews that you have and read those great reviews. And then they're already formulating exactly who Nicole is before they ever call. And we know that they do that. Everybody knows that. Everybody.
Right. And I would say the reason that people don't do it isn't because they don't know they should invest in themselves. It's probably being afraid of the process. So I guess my advice there would be to know that Tanya, Michael, Sydney, everyone's going to guide through the process and make it easy. So, like you always say, there's no wrong answers. You'll talk through it and figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah. And we did. And you were so open to that. So I'd like to say thank you, because it's not always an easy thing to open up like that.
Yeah.
And especially when you don't know what the outcome's going to be yet, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like we would ever put things out there in the world that you don't approve of. But the point is, it's still hard to open up sometimes about personal things, anything that you think might go out there. You're really hesitant to do that. People as a whole are. And I really appreciate it when people open up like you did, because it worked so beautifully.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point too, is to know that not everything that you say is coming out there. Some of it is just helping you formulate those words that you're going to use to describe someone, but you're not actually going to tell the story.
Yeah.
not all of it, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
We're not
definitely-
gonna say negative details out there.
it's you know, Tanya is famous for saying it. A good brand doesn't just change how other people see you. It changes how you see yourself, and that's a big thing for all of us to know that this is the purpose in which I get up every day. That and we can portray that to the people that need that help. That's a big deal, in my opinion.
I think that's very accurate. And Tanya, I want you to know that I own entirely too much blue now.
I love it. I know. You know, I still don't own enough orange because it's so hard to find things in orange. I think I'm going to change our brand colors to blue.
I don't know. Orange used to be my thing, so I might be able to pass some stuff your way.
Hey, I'm in. We'll do a switch off. I'll bring you my blue. You bring me your orange.
Well, you know, that's just another element of it all. Like we do it all the time. We're like BrandFace orange. There's a BrandFace orange. It don't matter.
There's Home Navigator
a
blue.
bike, it doesn't matter.
Literally anything I'm buying, I'm like, I'll take the blue one. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
That's the same way with Michael Carn Associates. It's always either blue or the gray, and so we automatically know. And you see things, you're like, oh, I need that in blue. You know, oh, I need that.
Breathe that
Awesome.
brand.
And luckily, the golf cart was already blue.
It was already
You
blue
see?
with work.
It was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Meant to
Yeah,
be.
exactly.
Well, Nicole, thank you so much for being on today and sharing your story with us. And
Once again,
we're so proud of you.
yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys so much.
You
absolutely.
bet.
Well, folks, listen, if you have questions about your brand or you want to learn more about branding, personal branding, to discuss whether or not you have a brand or how your brand can be improved upon, go to discussyourbrand.com. It's a free 30-minute session with our teammates. So that is discussyourbrand.com.
And if you like what you heard today and you'd like to be as successful as this lady here with us today, Nicole, we encourage you to like it, love it, share it, and ding, subscribe so you can be the first one to know when the next podcast premieres. So thanks again, Nicole. Appreciate you so much.
Yes.
Yep, thank you.
And folks, listen, when we talk about things like this, it's all about prosperity. And when we say prosperity, we're not just talking about money. We're talking about the 360 of the abundant life, which we really hope each one of you obtains. And we know prosperity favors the bold. So here at BrandFace, we say be bold, especially with your brand, just like Nicole, Home Navigator. And thank you, Miss Tanya.
Thank you. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on Be Bold Branding.